Let me start off with saying I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch the video. I got this big old log, mesquite log in here. It's about 15 foot long yesterday, and I had one blade. And I was going to try to cut the whole thing, which was merely impossible when you're dealing with something that's 30 to 34 inches wide, and working with a homemade sawmill on top of that, which does a really fine job. So I got this far. I cut about half of it, a little over half, and old sawmill blade decided it wanted to start turning up on me. I mean, going down actually. The board was coming up and growing on this end. So, well, I had to start brainstorming. I had to figure a way to finish cutting this thing because I wanted to get it done before Sunday. So I really have about 10 to 15 old blades, blades that I really worked pretty hard. But most of them are Woodmizer blades, the turbo cuts. And I figured, man, I got to figure a way to sharpen these blades or something here. I don't have a tool to do it with, but I'll figure something out. Let me also say that we got a little background noise from the highway, and I'm sorry about that, but there's not much I can do. The sawmill's sitting out here not too far from the highway. But yeah, it's an old homemade sawmill that I throw together and had it built. I built it a couple of years ago, but it does a really good job for what I need it for. No, it ain't a professional sawmill. You might be saying, well, everybody's trying to build something out there in this world. Yeah, we are. I like experimenting. I like playing. Well, anyhow, back to what I was saying. I got to brainstorming. I said, man, I got to figure something out. What am I going to do? I want to finish cutting this thing. So then I come up with different ideas. Okay, yeah, I got a bunch of junk around here. Well, I figured I'd try a die grinder with a stone or a die grinder with a sanding disc, and hey, that seemed to work all right. But then I got to thinking, what about a chop saw? A standard chop saw. I got one of those. Now, there's no way to change the angle on the chop saw. It just goes up and down. That's it. So then I said, well, let's see here. What if we block up one corner of it, like I did here, and make sure we got it all the way down over here on the other end of the chop saw. That gives me a little angle there. So then I started going up and down with the blade, and you know what? I got it set where it's pretty much the factory angle. Hey, we got an option here. Let's try this. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it the way you see it set up. I just got the old blade resting on the back of an old roller cart there. Keep in mind now, all I want to do is just finish that log out there. Now, I know this is not the proper way, not the most professional way, but it's something that'll get me by, hopefully. I'm not cutting out any of the gullet. All I'm going to try to do is put a face on the front of the blade, the front surface of it, just so it'll give it some fresh life. Well, let me finish getting this video set up, or this table set up here, and get everything lined up and power on, and then we'll show y'all how we're cutting it. Stay tuned. Alright, folks, we're going to see what we can do with this thing. As you can see, this old chop saw wore out like me, so all you're going to really do is loosen it up enough to try to get that blade where you want it, and pull it down to where you're just rubbing that tooth. And then make sure it's up on the block on this side, and make sure you're down on the opposite side, so you got the same angle, same angle or pitch on each blade on the face of it. I just barely got it touching the top of that tooth. Now I'm going to crank it up. I went a little too deep because I got in the gullet, but I'm going to come in there and try to clean that gullet out a little bit. Anything's better than what I had. I mean, I didn't have hardly anything on these teeth, you know what I mean? Okay, I'm going to loosen up the clamp. Make sure I get my little wood block over there again. Let me loosen it up a little bit more. Put that wood block underneath there. Slide it on down to the next one. Bring the chop saw down just where it's almost touching it, and when you clamp it, it'll kind of squeeze the blade back this way and keep it straight. And you'll crank it up again and see, it's a little bit too much. I'm going to loosen it up a little bit and move it just over. Half the time, just touch that. All right. Now then, here we go. face of that tooth off. Let me see if I can get the camera here. It may be a little crooked on you. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we can see up here. I think it's a little blurry there. But anyhow, that's the best I can do with 2 arms. I need 3 really. As you can see, I just really took a little bit of meat off the tip of that thing. Alright folks, I had to cut the last video just a little bit short. The camera kind of malfunctioned on me. I guess it went haywire after having it for about 6 years, so I had to go get this old backup camera I got and put it in motion here. We're going to get back to trying to face up the front part of this tooth on this sawmill blade on my old homemade sawmill to finish up that log out there we're trying to cut. As I stated earlier, all we're trying to do is put a little face on the front part of the tooth. We're not worried about the gullet right now. We just want to get us some kind of blade that'll cut a little bit better than what we had here initially. So again, we're just going to put a little surface the front of that tooth just a little bit down to where the gullet begins, and we cut in a little bit. I guess it's not a big deal, but we just want to get a little edge on there so we can finish the project. I also added a little block here because I got tired of picking it up and back and forth falling over, so I put a little screw in there to secure it in place. Like I said, we want to make sure the blade stays down on this corner, sets on that block. That kind of gives me the angle of each tooth, which will be exactly the same from this point on. All I do is I uncrank the table where I can slide that blade down. I get it over there, close as I can, and I bring the sawmill blade down, chop saw blade down, to where it just barely touches the edge of that tooth. I make sure I hold that left corner down, over here, and it's rested on that block. Then I fire the old chop saw. Now run it down until it just hits that gullet right there. Got a nice fine edge on top of it. I'll just loosen the table clamp up, go back again, one more tooth. Make sure it just touches it, just barely. Tighten it back down again, making sure it's resting on the block on this side and it's flat on the chop saw base on the other side. Here we go, one more time. I'm not trying to generate a whole lot of heat, that's why I run it right into it as quick as and evenly as I can to where it just hits that gullet and I stop. We'll slide it over one more time and get another tooth here. Bring it down until it's just touching it. Tighten her down, make sure she's flush. Here we go. So far it seems to be working pretty good. We'll do a couple more, then I'll get a close-up of the teeth that we're actually doing now, This is not a fast process, but you know what? It'll get you out of a bind. Back to what I was saying before I cranked that noisy chop saw up. This is not a professional way to do anything. And you're not doing the gullet, you're not doing the complete pass at one time. We're just trying to face that surface of that blade so we can get a little more life out of it. There's many professionals out there that know how to do this way better than I do, but in the situation right now, this is where we're at. We're making the best of what we got. Alright, we're going to do a couple more. There you go, got it sitting flush, everything's ready to rock and roll. Alright folks, I'm going to try to get this camera a little closer. Maybe y'all see that, what it did to that tooth. We're real close to the bottom of that, where that gullet begins. We got it as close as we can get it. I think it's going to make a huge difference when we start sawing. Again, it may not be the perfect sawmill blade, but I think it'll finish the job. I did one of these about 6-7 months ago by hand, and I could tell a huge difference out there on the sawmill compared to what the blade was like prior to sharpening that front face on that tooth. Again, I hope this helps a few of y'all. Like I said, it's by far Not a professional video at all, but it's something to get you out of a bind. You may have a chop saw, or you may have something similar. And, you know, we're going to put it on the sawmill. We're going to put it on the same log that we was cutting on the same cut that we started, that we pulled out of. And we're going to see if it makes any difference whatsoever. What we'll do is when we put this on that sawmill out there, that old, I call it the old hillbilly sawmill, we'll get a video of it as it's cutting it so you can see if it made any difference at all. Again, I hope this helps y'all guys out there that got one of these old sawmills. It'll also maybe save your pocketbook a hit from time to time. This works good for me. I got 10, 15 blades over there sitting in the warehouse hanging on the wall that I'm going to put on this old damn chop saw, and we're going to see if it really makes a difference. If I were to cut 10 more logs with them same sawmill blades I got over there by just sharpening that front tooth, it'd be a big improvement and make me some money. Again, y'all, thanks y'all for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.